and welcome back to the fourth video in our series of sequence and series. So far we've covered the arithmetic general term formula and how to rearrange our equation to find any one of those variables. Today we're focusing on the sum of the arithmetic series. Now, in order to be able to do this, I am assuming you have an understanding of what each of these variables represent. If you've forgotten those, go back to the intro video on the channel. You also need to identify or determine the difference between an arithmetic and a geometric sequence. And lastly, you need to be able to substitute values from a sequence into the formula and rearrange them algebraically to solve what you're looking for. So on to today's task, sum of the arithmetic series. It reads the sum of the nth term is the same as the n. Remember, n is the place in the series that we're focusing on. So for example, the 10th term, the sum of everything up until that 10th term, divided by 2, multiply, and remember we've got all of this in brackets. So as we get into it, you'll be reminded of BEDMAS and what to solve first. Yes, your calculator can solve a whole lot of it for you, but that all depends on what you're looking for. So it's really important you get a head around how to solve it algebraically, showing that process as we go. So let's do an example. Let's suppose we were given a sequence. We'll just call this example 1 of 6, 11, 16, 21, and it carried on and it went until we were asked to work out the sum of this series up until the 30th term. Okay, remember 30th term is the same as T30. They mean the same thing. Well, I have to work out first of all, do we have an arithmetic sequence or a geometric one? 6 plus 5 is 11, 11 plus 5 is 16. I can see straight away. Okay, remember, I take a term and subtract the term before it to actually find it. 11 take away 6 is 5. I check to see if it worked. Well, here is the formula that we're going to use to find the sum of an arithmetic series now that I've established what I've got in front of me and what I have to do. So that makes it easy to identify the formula. So remember, that's the first thing we should actually write down. The sum of the nth term is the same as n over 2. Remember, that means divided by times 2 times a plus n take away 1 times d. Now you don't have to put in the multiplication signs. I'm doing that just to remind you that that is what you have to do to each of these values. Alright, the next job is to actually figure out what we know. Alright, we don't know the sum, that's what we're trying to find out, so we don't know s. However, we do know n, it's term 30. N is 30. What is a? A is 6. Again, n is 30, and the difference, well, we discovered the difference is actually a positive 5 because the sequence is getting bigger each time. Okay, those are the only variables in our formula, so let's substitute that information in. I'll do that in the different colour so you can see. Okay, s of 30 is the same as 30 divided by 2 times 2 times 6 plus 30 take away 1 times 5. Alright, now we have to, and the closed bracket around the end. Now we actually have to go through and solve this. Now we've got brackets within brackets, so let's sort that out first and bring down, we've got 30 take away 1 is 29 times 5. So all I'm doing is I'm tidying up and bringing down what I haven't touched. Plus, and 2 times 6, well, we can do that there. Notice I'm just working backwards to make sure I bring down everything that I haven't yet worked out. I still have this bracket to solve. Now this is basic bed mass, and you can just put that into your calculator. We could put the whole lot in, but I just want you to see the breakdown. 29 times 5 gives us 145. Now if you wanted to do that straight up, that's fine, but like I said, I'm just showing you how this tidies up as we go. You can skip some of those steps, it's no problem. 12 plus 145 is 157. 30 divided by 2 is 15. Okay, so you can see how that's actually unpacked. Is the sum of the 30th term. Put that into our calculator. 15 times 157, double check you've put in the right equation. 2,355 is the sum of this series up until the 30th term. That's what we've just found out. Okay, so if you're feeling confident with that, I'd like you now to have a go at these 3 questions here and work out the sum of these sequences using the process we did there. So pause this video and give it a go. Let's suppose you've been given a question such as this. So let's call it example 2. Let's say this time our sequence is 3, 12, 21, 30, and after a while we get to the value 174, and we are asked to find the sum of this particular series. Now let's have a look at what we've got. We know we've got a formula that we need to use, so let's write that formula down. The sum of up to the nth term is the same as n over 2 times 2a, or 2 times a, plus bracket n take away 1 times d. Okay, and let's figure out what we actually know so far. Well, we don't know the sum, that's what we're trying to find, so that's unknown. We also don't know the nth term, that's unknown. It's not looking good so far, is it? We do know a is 3. Now I've assumed that this is an arithmetic sequence. I should have checked. 12 take away 3 is 9. 12 plus 9 is 21. 21 plus 9 is 30. It is, so I have got the right formula. Always make sure you do that. And as we did that, I worked out the difference was plus 9, positive 9. Well, I can't use this formula yet because what I am actually missing is the nth term. I don't know how far up in the sequence this series is. So I actually have to find the general term first. So that takes us back to this formula. We need to find that out before we can use, to find n, so we can use that. So to find the general term, I use a plus n take away 1 times d. Oh, we do know the term. We know the term is t is 174. We don't know n. We do know a, however. We know that a is in fact 3, and we do know the difference is 9. So we'll put this information into this formula here. If t is 174, a is 3 plus, we don't know n, take away 1 times 9. So if we put in what we know, we can tidy it up. Remember, we had to expand this bracket out, which gave us 9n take away 9 plus 3 equals 174. And we had our like terms that we can use to tidy up the equation. 3 take away 9 is negative 6, okay? Equals, all right, Now we have to use algebra. Eliminate the 6, we've got to cancel it out, so we've got to make it equal 0. So we want to get n by itself, remember. I added 6 on this side of equals, so I must do the same. That gave me 180, which leaves me with 9n. If I divide by 9 to both sides, okay, you should be able to do that in your head, but we will just double check on the calculator. 180 divided by 9 does in fact give me 20. So n is 20. What did we just find? We found out that this value here is in fact term 20, which now we know n for the formula. So let's go through and put that in. The sum of up to the 20th term is the same as 20 divided by 2 times 2, a is 3, plus n is 20, take away 1, times d, which is 9. Always get in the habit of substituting everything in so you can go back and double check you have in fact put the right values in. Some people skip that and just what they've done in their head. Okay, yes, it's quicker, but that's when you can fall into mistakes. So we'll tidy up our equation. We've got 19 times 9 plus 2 times 3 is 6. 20 divided by 2 is 10. So we've tidied it up quite a bit anyway. Okay, we'll finish tidying up this here. I always do multiplication before I do the addition within that bracket. So 19 times 9 equals 171 plus 6. You could skip that step, but I'm just trying to show you. Okay, 6 plus 171 is 177 times 10. Well, that's easy enough to do. The sum of the 20th term is 1,770. If you don't believe me, 177 times 10, voila, there it is. So we have just found the sum of this particular series, but remember we didn't know the nth term. We had to work that out. Once we found out what n was, we could use this formula again to work out the sum of that entire series up until the 20th term. If you felt really confident with that, you can have a go at the questions in green, questions 4 and 5. So pause the video, give them both a go, and questions 1 to 3 were the questions for the first things we worked out. Good luck with that, boys. Okay, gents, well, remember these were the questions that I gave you throughout this video, and here are the solutions. So pause the video and review your solutions. If you've got anything wrong, please go back through and check your process, check your substitutions are right. And just remember, when you do work out an answer, make sure you go and check, does your answer actually make sense, that it would add up to that much. I hope you found that useful, boys. Don't forget to go back into WS12MTX 2020 in our Teams page, or open it in the browser on OneNote, and look for more. Look out for the next video, boys, where we try to find n, what term in the sequence was used, but you're only given a few numbers in the sequence plus the actual sum. It's there that you'll be shown how to use the quadratic formula and reminded about what that actually looks like as well. So make sure you check out that video before you get into geometric sequences and series. All the best, boys, and we'll catch up with you later.